Before I talk about my memory from the time I was a student here, I need to say a few provincial thank yous, if you'll indulge me for a minute. First of all, I really want to thank Paul. He said that all the friars of the house deserve credit for this lovely, lovely celebration tonight. And I'm sure that's true. I know that's true. But Paul deserves credit. Paul is a good guardian here. So thank you, Paul, for tonight. And for being here. Something pretty amazing. We just did a survey of the friars in studies here of what they want to do when they finish formation. And I don't know what number, half of them want to be formators. Now, in my day, no one wanted to be a formator. And now, half of them want to be formators. And I said to Acola when I was talking, I said, Acola, why in the world would a young man say, oh, when I grow up I want to be a formator? And Acola said, because Paul Dressler is such a good formator, we want to be like Paul. I think you're crazy guys, but all right, that gives Paul some credit. So thank you, Paul, for being a good model for these guys. I also want to thank Sean for being with us tonight. You know, one of the insights I've had into Sean over the years is he's just like the rest of us friars. We have the ministry the church gives us to do. We may be pastors, we may be chaplains, we may be teachers, do whatever it is that the Lord and the church has given us to do. And we do that with all the energy we have, but our heart belongs to the province. And Lou kept saying to Sean tonight, how do you do it all? You're the Archbishop of Boston, you're one of the Pope's advisors, and you still have time for us. Sean's like the rest of us. Whatever the church gives us to do, we do it. But our heart belongs to the province. And Sean is a brother just like that. Thank you. And Bob McCray mentioned Miles. Now, I knew Miles. I was in the novitiate when Miles lived there as an old man. And Miles was exactly what you said. He was charitable, very charitable. He loved the friars. He formed here at Cap College, and those were tumultuous days. And friars left and friars stayed, but Miles loved them all. And so you were accurate in that. But you weren't accurate in one thing. You said that Sean is the one responsible for guiding the province through those difficult years. And Sean, I'm sorry, I keep calling you Miles and Sean, mixing the two of you up. But Miles was responsible. And Miles was a very great giant of helping the province through the years of the Second Vatican Council and after. But he is not the one responsible for guiding the province through those years. Look how successful we are today. People sometimes give that credit to me. What says deserves whatever credit I get, he deserves half of it. But sometimes people give me that credit. The one who led the province through the difficult years that allowed the province to come out on the other side and be capable of growing is Bob McCreary. I wouldn't be a friar but for you, Bob, and all these young men wouldn't have come except for the fact that our province was strong enough to receive them. We had tough years, really difficult years. Lou Petrua, Gary Stakem, Francis Fugini, all kind of guys. Joe helped us through those years, but more than anyone, you guided us through those tough years. And God bless you, Bob. Live forever, okay? And I also want to say a word about Joe Mindling. First of all, Joe, you said the most important thing that happened when you were guarding was that Paul Dressler came. I came in those years too. What the heck are you talking about? Most memorable, he says. Okay. And then the other thing I remember is when, now, I think Paul kind of whines and complains a little more than he needs to. When Joe was a guardian, he was finishing his doctoral dissertation for the STD. That's not a sexually transmitted disease. It's a degree you get from Rome. Worldwide, it's known as it's the most difficult pontifical degree to achieve in the church, and Joe got it. So all you other scholars and doctorates and all that, he got a bigger degree than y'all did, okay? So he was working on that doctorate. He was teaching at WTU a full load.
Right.
He was on the provincial council, and he was the guardian. Paul. And anyway, and so I remember one night, Joe stretched out his degree like to the very, very end. And I think it was like, they finally said in Rome, you either finish that doctorate by October, I'm not going to say 31st, that's not fair, but by November 2nd, or you're done. And so Joe was feverishly in the room up front working on the doctorate dissertation, and I need to ask permission for, I don't know, some little thing. And I felt like, I know what he was going through. He was in the finatory, he was a guardian, he was teaching full-time, he was trying to finish this degree. And I knocked on the door to ask for permission. And I know they were in there, he was in there with others, feverishly working on getting this thing done. And I said, Joe, I need to ask you if I don't know what I needed to do. And he stopped his work, spent the few minutes he needed to attend to me, and told me fine. And I even thought to myself, how could this man do that much work in that period of time? So Joe also is one of the heroes of this house. So. Now, I have a little reflection I wrote about my time here as a student and the member of the council. So I'll read it to you. It won't take me a few minutes, just a few minutes. When I was asked by Paul to offer a memory from Capuchin College, my mind was blank, utterly. Then I learned that on September 29th of this year, Brother Pat Shea of the Order of Friars Minor died. Pat was here at Capuchin College during my 3 years here, and he was here a year before I came and a couple of years after I left. He was here for a total of 6 years. Do you remember Pat Shea, some of you guys?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's interesting that the most powerful memory of my years at Cap College is not about a man who was a Capuchin, but about a man who was a member of the Order of Friars Minor. Pat, when I came here, Pat immediately wanted to know me because we were both lawyers. He was going for a degree in canon law, first a JCL, then a JCD. That's why he was there 6 years. While I was to remain just a civil lawyer. He was a civil lawyer and a canon lawyer. He liked being a lawyer, and he liked being a Franciscan. He liked being both, and so he was kind of intrigued by me, who was both a lawyer and a Franciscan as well. Pat was quiet, kept to himself, rarely left his room except for prayer or meals, hardly ever went to the recreation room or the TV room. But when he was sitting in his room over there, he was drawing these caricatures. He drew these cartoon characters of all the friars in the house. Do you remember those? First, he liked to caricature Maurice Sheehan, who was one of his teachers during a summer at St. Bonaventure. Now, I like to imitate Maurice, but he loved to draw pictures of Maurice. But then, he liked to draw pictures of me. He produced caricatures by the dozens, and I was his favorite subject. And then he caricatured everyone in the house. And I remember one of my memories, this Halloween morning. We woke up to find we had these long tables. We woke up to find this scroll, this long scroll, which had a caricature. Does that still exist? I hope not. A caricature of every friar in the house. I remember that at the two ends of this scroll were Christopher Rengers and James Crowder. And they both were vultures looking over this. Remember, it's Halloween. And Joe was a vampire. Joe, forgive me. I think I'm partly responsible for that. Pat worked hard on his studies, and he used his civil law and his canon law degrees to serve the church for many years until he died recently. But he wasted a lot of time doing caricatures. It was his way of showing love, and since he drew everyone in the house, it was clear he loved everyone. In the years since, Pat would send me cards with his drawings, and it was always addressed to Tom Betz, OFM. And I would write back occasionally, and I would always write back, Pat Shea, OFM Cap. I don't know why I did that, I don't know why he did that, but it's what we did. May Pat Shea rest in peace.
Amen.
And may his caricatures of me also rest in peace.
They do.
They do. I think we got rid of them.
You got rid of them? Oh, thank God. May they rest in peace. Amen. Thank you.